Pan. It's my desire to grant you a wish. Any wish. So long as it's of your heart's greatest content.
Well, if I chose to fly back to my mother, would that be a good wish?
You come before Mab, and that's for such a teeny tiny wish.
Is it a small wish?
It's barely this big! Can you hear the violin? I'll tell you what I'll do. Because I am so gracious, I will grant you 2 wishes. 2, yes. You can first, of course, fly back to the window and see your mother. And when you grow tired of it, because you will, you can come back to Mab for your second wish. Agreed?
Aw, gee, thanks.
Do you think it wise, O gracious sovereign, to allow the boy to go? It's been quite some time since we've had this sort of fun.
Hi, sweetest yet saltiest of all the fairies. Besides, attendance has been down as of late.
Aye, and there's even been talk of another party. A different party.
Or, worse yet, getting work done.
Bam! Fear not. He will not find what he's looking for.
He won't.
Indeed, he won't. You would be there to remind him. His second wish! Wink!
Is that your mother?
Sorry, sleeping. She sure has quite a beautiful face.
Kind clothes, too.
Yes. What fancy clothes she wears. My, it must be nice to wear such fancy clothes.
You think so?
Oh, sure. Think about it. Different clothes. You know, uniforms for school, suits for work, even clothes for sleeping. Lots of clothes, different clothes for everything you do, every single day until you die.
What about socks?
Oh, what about socks?
Peter?
We better go before she wakes up.
Right. See you later, Peter Pan.
Yeah, see ya. You know, when you come back to the garden for your second wish.
Sure. I mean, who would waste a second wish?
I'm sure your mother will let you come back, you know, at any time to get your second wish.
Race you back to the gardens?
First, I have to go to the quick stop.
Do you pity Peter Pan for the decisions he makes? Well, you shouldn't. You would probably make them yourself. Peter had a second wish, after all. Who was to say that at any time he could not come back to that window? Besides, he thought himself as having the most splendid of times, and thinking you are having a good time is almost as good as actually having a good time. Peter played every night away without tire or ceasing, which is more than I can say about you. Now, who is pitying whom? I would like to tell you now of little Mamie Mannering, a strange young girl who by night became even stranger. Mamie lived in a nice house with a nice family, had a nice life and a very nice older brother named David, whom Mamie idolized to no end. She was delighted when he took her toys, ecstatic when he shoved her to the ground. Because once the sun went down, the tables would churn and David's swagger of age would begin to fade, replaced with fearful looks toward Mamie. For every night, when they were put to bed, David would offer Mamie his best toys and become ever so polite. And when the lights would go out, David would whisper,
Not tonight, Mamie, please.
Do you hear that? It sounds terrible.
No.
It must be horrible to sound that way.
Please, anything but that.
Look out, David, it's coming.
David would scream as Mamie's beast would pounce from the shadows. Their parents would come running to find David in a fit and Mamie sound asleep, quiet as a mouse with an innocent smile on her lips. And they would tell off David and wish him to be more like his sister. Now it was after one particularly awful evening for David that the events of our story resumed. For Mamie had embarrassed him so much, David did the nastiest thing that an older brother can do. He ditched her in the gardens, and as it was close to sunset, when she found the end of the gardens, the gate had already been locked. Now most little girls would find this to be a very frightening ordeal, but despite the danger that surrounded her, there was quite the potential for adventure. She might even, she thought to herself, run into Peter Pan.
Hey! Watch where you're going!
Oh, I'm sorry, are you? You're okay?
Yes, I'm fine,
I'm sorry, I was... You have a little... Say, you're a little girl.
I'm bigger than you.
Yeah. But what are you doing in the garden, huh?
Looking for Peter Pan, of course.
Oh, him. Everybody loves Peter Pan, yeah.
And why shouldn't they? I hear he's absolutely marvelous.
Well, no, I mean, he's pretty great, actually. He gets invited to all the fairy parties and everything. Fairies, yeah. He's the fairies orchestra, you know. He goes to so many fairy balls, and he doesn't remember who any of his friends are or were ever.
Do you think I could go to a fairy party?
No. I just don't think that you would like it very much, you know. I mean, besides, they would probably turn you into something nasty, because you're not allowed. You know, like
What?
like a brick or a bit of confetti, maybe, or a duck even.
Oh, that's terrible.
That was a joke. That was a joke I made. Oh God, or a house! They can turn you into a big, giant house! That would be terrible!
Hey, I have an idea.
What?
What if we go in disguise? You could be a little girl. And I'll be a sack of burlap.
Yes! But do you think it will work?
Of course it will. It has to.
Okay, let's go.
So the Duck and Mamie headed off in the direction of the fairies' ball. Duck hoping that disguising himself would allow him to fit in better, and Mamie hoping to run into the infamous Peter Pan. But it was not to be, because Peter, for once, was not at the fairies' ball.